I'm exploring. Now that I had chosen my final theme, I needed to make sure that I truly would be able to explore my photo clock idea properly. Since I'd chosen the theme of setting time, I wanted to quickly look into every single area that could do with that so I could try and properly figure out some idea of where I want to go with this. So I made a mind map which split into 4 different sections. There's previous research, technical research, thematic research, and artistic inspiration. With the previous research, most of it was just highlighting the key features of the previous research that I particularly enjoyed and would like to incorporate into this product, if at all possible, because I feel like if I wasted all this research and experimentation I've done, it would be foolish of me. When it comes to thematic research, I need to think about how the photo clock gimmick could figure out. The gimmick being that every minute it will show a photo taken at that minute. I started looking into how to express this purpose, and I came with 4 general ways to represent this theme, alongside 3 general groups it could apply for. Those 3 groups being the elderly, the young, and a community, which will make more sense later. The 4 mini themes are as follows. We've got the past, i.e. cherishing old memories and the experiences you had with them, and reminding you about your rich experience in life and differences, despite it being the exact same time. I also looked into the present, sharing current memories and previous memories with the community, and attempting to broaden everyone in your group's understanding of each other, perhaps by sharing a single screen that connects to all of their photos. For example, everyone would upload a select few photos to a cloud, which would then present each photo at a minute. And once this was done, it would help foster a sense of caring and community. My third theme was the future, as in seeking out to make new memories by filling up your blank spots, as understandably I imagine that we don't have 1,440 pictures, which is the number of minutes in a day, just randomly lying around. We probably have plenty of blank spaces, so I hope this product would inspire people to go out and make more. Finally, my last theme was a bit more different. And this theme I've called The End. The breakdown and destruction of certain photos into elementary blocks, perhaps through presenting it as a puzzle or editing certain factors of a photo, such as hue and saturation, or even distorting the image, is what this theme effectively applies to. My idea is to break down this concept of memory stored in visual images into a variety of senses such as smell, taste, and even break up the visual interpretation of these images in some way. And I feel this theme, it works well with the young and community groups, but I imagine it could work rather poorly with the elderly, as things need to be much more clearer and simple, especially if I'm considering marketing this product to those with memory issues such as dementia-ridden patients, because something that's unclear could lead to a high increase in stress. Now, with these 4 themes and these 3 groups, I don't need a theme to apply to all 3 groups or most of them to have the theme be good, and vice versa. I just need to make the product that I think is going to work the best, and I'm just trying to explore all my possible avenues that work with the photo clock gimmick. My next section of research was done into technical research. And to go along with my thematic research, I need to just quickly look into the possibilities of the project. How big would the actual product be? How would the photos be presented? Like projected in some form or on an LCD screen or something of the like. As you can see, looking at the data, taking the average photo storage size and count, as well as the number of minutes a day, we can see that with an iPhone photo, it would take about 2.69 gigabytes, which is incredibly feasible. And with larger higher-end photos, that being 1.85 megapixels, you could find that it would only give you 14.69 gigabytes, which is still high. It's difficult to achieve, but it's still very achievable nonetheless. I also quickly looked to see if there were because in your iPhone storage, you can see the time a photo was taken, but I don't really know how that works, so I quickly looked into it, and most photos have this metadata called EXIF data, which basically stores all sorts of information about the phone, about the photo, such as the time, the date, the location, the orientation of the camera, and lots of different things. Finally, I wanted to look into artistic inspiration. A big one for this one was just the naming of the product. I felt like just calling it photo clock the entire time wasn't really awe-inspiring. It didn't really sum up what it's coming to be with all the themes of memories and everything like that. So I wanted to look into names to be associated with memory, but I found a lot of symbolism related more to grief and mourning, which isn't exactly what I want to inspire people with when it comes to these memories. So I looked into more mythological side to create a sense of majesty and empowerment behind these memories and my product. I cycled through a variety of gods of time, gods of dreams, and finally landed on a few gods of memory. I wanted to get the most accurate response, so I chose the Titaness Mnemosyne as she was the closest to my theme. I looked at a few variants of this name to make it more snappy, as I'm sure you can guess, Mnemosyne isn't exactly the most snappy, great name, but I couldn't pick one in particular, so I decided to talk to some primary users about it. As I just mentioned, I imagine that I'm going to be making some primary users now, so I could go back and forth with them as I develop this product and find the best way to make something best. Now, when it comes to these primary users, I want to make sure that they each represent, I want 3 primary users, and I want each of them to represent one of my 3 groups. The young/young adult, the elderly, and a community group, perhaps a family or a college dorm or the like. I decided to come up with a quick design brief just to throw at them so they quickly understand the product, and I ended up being with, I am designing a product that takes multiple pictures and presents them to you at the exact minute they were taken. This results in a whole day of images, each shown at the exact minute it was taken. It's kind of difficult to describe this quickly, but I figured this gets the job done. So my 3 primary users end up being each of the 3 stages, with my first primary user being Paloma Lee Stevenson, age 17. She's an art student at Southampton High School, and she pretty much perfectly fits the age group of the young adult, and I would be able to see her easily for interviews and check up on designs. Simultaneously, like I mentioned, she's also an art student, so it will be more helpful as she understands more about the process of designing. My second primary users being an elderly couple called Charlie and Jenny Vivers, who both work as a lawyer and care worker respectively. They're perfect for my elderly group as they are my grandparents, and they themselves show signs of memory loss on a rare occasion. So this means I can get into contact with them easily, and it means I already have a connection with them. Finally, my third primary user representing my theme of community was Andrew Vivers, my uncle and now father of 2, with the younger one just being born late 2020. He's perfect to represent my third group of community, as he and his wife Sarah had, even with their first son, been partaking in a variety of apps such as LifeCake and 23 Snaps, which are aimed around sharing pictures of you and your children with your creative family. And I feel this theme perfectly encompasses the theme of my sharing memories as well as that group of community. So of each of my 3 primary users, I filled out a quick questionnaire with these questions, and I went to go see, I then tried to interview all of them live, but I only really managed to get a live recording with Paloma. The results of this can be seen on further down the website. For Paloma's interview, she talked more about how you could combine the community theme and the young people theme with specifically younger adults and parents. And she also expressed some interest in some of the ultimate form of presentation of memories. However, she did seem hesitant about the forms of which can be presented, and suggested to stick with the digital photo frames concept, even suggesting an idea for a cube-like structure with multiple screens showing one of each seasons or different parts of the photo. When talking about naming the product off camera, I presented my personal favourite names of Nemesis, Nemosity and Lemnos, none of which I was super happy with but were best for my influences and I couldn't really land on anything. And while discussing it with her, we landed on a new name, that being purely Scene, or Sign. I haven't been entirely sure to pronounce it, but personally I'm leaning towards Scene because it's phonetically spelt the same way as Scene, which is pretty good in the theme of memories. It all comes round. And it also takes reference from Mnemosyne's name, obviously. With Andrew and Sarah Vivers, I ended up having a 40-minute interview over the call, and we did a long discussion about questions and even moved on to some design concepts to work with for the final product, raising some issues that could present themselves further down the line. They both liked the ideas of sharing memories and past memories, but were a bit hesitant about the idea of artificially creating memories, and they were very unsure about Theme 4, saying that it could be neat, however they wouldn't be able to tell without actually using the product or what the product would be. Andrew also talked about how if it has the ability to recognize the photos, then generally the rest of the memories come flooding in. That was pretty good for my purpose, as it showed that he personally found that this product would be super helpful. They brought up some more interesting points about how smells and sounds can relate to the memory, and the capability of having personalization settings so that if you're part of a group, you can mute certain people, for example. For example, if everyone uploads all of their photos to a cloud, and each photo is shown in a minute and it shows a user, you can mute a certain user and never have to see their photos without purposely going, I don't want to see your photos at them. We also talked about more customizability to choose which photos to focus on, for example, developing AI to focus more on baby pictures or focus more on more recent memories or distant memories and that sort of thing. And of course we had to discuss about some ideas such as explicit photos that you wouldn't want your family, young children, and elderly parents to be seeing. Of course, I ended up going into more detail about this below. Finally, I went into an interview with Charlie and Jenny. We ended up talking a lot about design concepts, even talking about some smartwatch ideas. However, we ended up deciding to discontinue them being primary uses and for me to stay away from the group of elderly, as I realized that spreading myself so thin would result in me not being able to cohesively put a product together, and instead I should create a product and then look into how it can be developed from there to fit the elderly's needs. Now I needed to make a proper design brief and some criteria, and I talked to my primary users about it, and I ended up making 2 quick ones. As you can see on screen here, they're quite detailed, but finally I ended up with this design brief, which is as follows. Memories can be such a fleeting experience, and through our day-to-day lives, most of us won't be able to remember most of them at all. The objective here is to design a product that can capture these memories and store them and present them back to you in a new and innovative way, with the goal being to help to lose yourself in that memory and gain a deeper connection to that memory accordingly. The general theme will be of a digital photo frame of some sorts that will link photos that you have taken to the memories associated with them, incorporating methods such as user interconnectivity, extensive details about the photograph, and most importantly, the photos will be presented with each passing minute in a slideshow fashion, with each photograph being shown at the exact minute it was taken. The goal is to immerse oneself in the memories, as each photograph that flows past you is associated with it. Customizability and modularity to its design would be a key focus, as with most of my products, as allowing the user to customize and move the product around is key, as it will deepen the connection the user has to the product and by extension the memories, while still retaining the easy and simple to use ideas. Finally, after having listed out my design brief, I listed out the 9 most important design criteria that I had, and of course I go into much further detail about each individual point in the actual website below. Each of these are important to the end result of my products, and I want to be exceeding in most of these. And just like that, I started off with my initial exploration. I thought up more detail into the photo clock idea, more close to a memory clock, and now I'm calling it the scene or sign project. Still, I haven't decided. And I've looked into a bunch of initial research, and now I have to delve much further into it with my next episode of Physical Design. Can't wait to see you there.